It's you! You're my favourite. You are the best. You know why? Because you're so thick. You're Mr. Thickety, thick face from Thick Town, Thickania. And so's your dad.
Hello, my fellow Whovians. Welcome back to TARDIS Talk. I am Josh. This is Daz. How you doing, man?
Oh my goodness, let me tell you, I'm feeling a little hot after this episode. You know, I just
Oh
feel like someone
yeah?
turned the fireplace on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm good.
So this is our episode about the girl in the fireplace. This is season 2, series 2, episode 4 of David Tennant's run. Man, this is an interesting episode. More so because it gives us one of Doctor Who's famous lines. But we'll get to that in a bit. Not famous lines, famous quotes, but we'll get to that in a bit. So, yeah. Overall, before we actually get into this, overall, what did you think of the episode?
Okay.
All right, give it to
I
me straight.
know I gave you a 9 out of 10 for the previous episode, but
Yeah, I
thinking
can
about
remember that.
this episode in particular, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to bump that one down to an 8 because this is a 9 for me.
Mm-hmm.
9. You know, I feel like as we go like further, the tier list will expand and I'll have a bit more to kind of work with. But
Oh,
thinking about
definitely.
it logistically, this episode's pacing was fantastic. There weren't any huge lapses of like continuity other than for some reason there was a horse at one point in the episode. I'm not sure where that came from, but you know what? That's okay. Sometimes you got to write yourself a way out of a corner. So they did, and they introduced it early on enough where I allowed it. You know, I feel like it was fair. Weird
Mm-hmm.
things happen. But yeah, 9 out of 10. Writing's great. Characterization is great. I think we get a lot more into the Doctor, and we get this kind of tortured soul of who he is. We get Rose
Oh,
trying to
yes.
understand the Doctor, and kind of realizing that he's a little bit like an emotionally abusive dad, where he's just like, he shows up for your birthday, but it's 2 weeks later than he was supposed to be there, and he accidentally ate the gift on the way over. So,
Mm.
but you know, he came to
That
take
just
you to
hit
the baseball
me.
game. Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh my god, yeah. So this episode was written by Stephen Moffat, who before this has done a couple episodes in series 1 with Christopher Eccleston. So this is his only writing credit for this season of Doctor Who, but he is the main showrunner for Matt Smith's era as well. Matt Smith and I want to say a good majority of
Didn't this guy write
Peter
Sherlock?
Capaldi. Yes, he wrote Sherlock with fuck.
With someone. I don't know. I feel like I
Yes,
I
he
remember him
wrote
from Sherlock.
he worked on Sherlock.
Yeah, I think it was like a little mini series, I want to say.
Yes. Yeah.
Something like that.
But yeah, so
Sorry, off topic.
yeah, very often. But Stephen Moffat is one of the best Doctor Who writers, along with Russell T Davies, which back in the very first episode I said everyone in the Doctor Who community is super excited that he's coming back to do the 14th series with Ncuti Gatwa, because his run has been amazing. Stephen Moffat is amazing as well. His stuff can be hit or miss, but this one was an absolute hit. So let's fucking get into it, man. We are going through the looking glass on this one, so to speak.
Oh yeah. So
not so to speak as well. But we are on on a
It's like
spaceship in
Yeah.
the in like 5,000 years in the future, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's the 51st century, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
And
somewhere around
they've
there.
got these really cool. Also, all right, returning themes here. I love robots. Okay, and is it wrong for me to enjoy the episode with more robots more than the one with just one previously? Maybe, but that's okay. So on the episode we start, and they're just like plopped in the middle of this spaceship, and the doctor's like, "Where the fuck are we?" Definitely a direct quote. Don't look it up though. But yeah, he says, "Where the fuck are we?" And he looks at the power levels in the ship, and he's like, "Oh my god, this thing has all of its warp drives on at the same time, or warp engines. It's enough to punch a hole through the universe." And
Hmm.
then he walks around the corner and he sees this cool fireplace. He's like, "That's a pretty cool fireplace. Oh my goodness!"
Cool,
And then he sees this little girl,
pretty 18th century fireplace. Yeah.
right? And he sees this little girl. Which also, first off, David Tennant, shame on you. You're going into a young. You're looking at a young lady's room in the 17th century. Bad. Get the bad Doctor Who spray bottle. Spray him real quick. It's a bad Mr.
Bad,
Doctor Who.
bad.
That's a bad Mr. the Doctor. So he scares the shit out of this poor little girl, right? And can I just say, the Doctor definitely is clearly not dad coded or dad pilled. He's definitely uncle pilled. Like he's a
Oh,
really good
absolutely.
uncle.
He's the cool uncle you see once every couple months.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're like, your mom does kind of like only like to give you limited contact with him because he's kind of a little all over the place, but you always have a good time.
Definitely. Big time.
He's giving you ice cream for every meal, which is probably part of the problem. But at any rate, this young girl freaks her out, and he, being the big goofball that he is, kind of walks back and forth for a little bit, and then he pulls something, and they do like a literal Scooby-Doo, going back to Scooby-Doo. Wow, man. Maybe this is just Scooby-Doo, but in space. But they do the Scooby-Doo wall swap thing, where like the wall turns and it's on a
The
turnstile.
turntable. Well, yeah, the wall turntable. I mean, we've seen that in other media as well, live action media. It's in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
That's
Well.
true, but it's
Yeah.
like the Scooby-Doo like classic,
Yeah, absolutely.
I was really surprised we didn't get a scene where they were chasing everybody down the hallway, and then the Doctor starts chasing all the bad guys. If we're gonna be honest, but at any
funny
rate,
enough, I think I have seen that, but we'll get there.
we'll get there. I'm so excited now. But he looks around in this little girl's room and he sees what looks to be a clock, but it's brokey. And he goes, "That don't make sense." And he's like, "I hear ticking, but the clock brokey." And he starts explaining to this poor, terrified, like 7-year-old, that if there's ticking, but the clock is broken, and it sounds like it's coming from about a 6-foot frame. Meanwhile, this poor girl, if you look back at her, is just ready to piss herself. She's sitting in bed because it's been like a few hours since he first talked to her, because timey-wimey bullshit. And she has this terrified look on her face, and he goes, "Don't turn around." After he looks underneath the bed and sees the monster of the week, which is this weird ticking nonsense.
Clockwork Man.
Yeah. And he sees him as he comes back up because he tries to sonic screwdriver this guy and it doesn't work out. And Mr. Clockwork Guy, I think points like a knife or something at him.
Yeah, it's kind of a knife, little scalpel,
like a box cutter almost. And the little girl looks back and is fucking terrified. Like, I don't know about you, but if I'm 7, I'm screaming my head off. There's a strange man in my fucking room. There's
and then there's the Clockwork Man.
Yeah, like, no, this kid really kept their composure really well.
I gotta say, I love the subtle, not so horror aspect of Doctor Who as well. It works so well with the series.
It's like suspense rather than horror most of the time.
Yeah.
So then, he tries to ask it questions, but when the girl asks the questions, it answers. Pretty cool.
I wonder what's up with that.
And then he does this weird teleport thing when he realizes he's kind of like bit the bite, so to speak. So the Doctor is like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go. You stay here, kiddo. You just stay where you are.
I'll be back in a minute."
And she goes, okay, strange man from the fireplace, and probably gets no sleep that night, right? I think we can all agree on that.
Nothing. No
She
sleep
got
for that night.
not a wink, not a wink. But it's all good because they kind of chill out for a bit, hang in there, everything's fine. And he doesn't know where the fuck this clockwork dude went, right? So he comes back, he informs the companions, we got Rose and Mickey. Hey, I think I know what's wrong, but I'm not sure yet. And they're like, okay. And then they find the robot bro, and he just hits him with the fire extinguisher. And then he attempts to mess with it, and it just disappears again, I think, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that was weird. Also, can I just say I love that we consistently make Mickey the butt of the joke. He's like, an ice gun! And
Mickey is just the butt of every single joke in this show.
oh yeah, he's like, oh, gun free, so it must be ice gun. And he's like, bro, it might be the 51st century, but it's just a fire extinguisher. And he's like, oh.
Poor Mickey. He's just always thrown on the bus with everything. He's just the butt of every joke. Mickey deserves better.
Oh my goodness. So then they deal with Mr. Clockwork Dickhead, right? Or rather, he just fucks off, which is cool.
Yeah.
We like that. And then he goes back to Renette's bedroom because he finds out the girl's name is Renette now.
Mm-hmm.
And he
By
realized
this time,
timey-wimey bullshit has been happening.
by this time she's an older woman. She's a young lady.
I think she's like what, like in her early 20s or some shit like that?
Maybe 20s or maybe teens or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, played by Sophia Myles. Lovely lass. Very beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Very classy.
And I think she plays like a noble very, very well, like a noble woman.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Gotta say.
And then my favorite bit of that scene is she's due to go to like a school or something like that, like a ladies school or something like that. And before she actually ends up leaving, she just snogs the doctor.
Yep.
She just full on gives that man a good old wet kiss.
Oh yeah.
Good old hey.
Now that I'm thinking about it, isn't she in Transformers?
Is she? Hold on. Let me pull this up.
I know you're resident.
Yes,
Mr.
she is. Yes, she. Oh my god. Okay. So, wow.
It's so crazy.
Wow. So this is okay. I did not know this. I just pulled this up. She is the fucking A. She is the daughter, I believe. No, she's not. She's not the daughter. Who is she? She is in Transformers,
right? An Age of Extinction?
She's in Age of Extinction. I don't know who she plays. That being said, I forget everything about Age of Extinction because I don't watch.
It's a bad movie.
I haven't seen. I tend to forget the Transformers movies after Dark of the Moon because they're just not good. Not saying Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast aren't good. They're great. I'm just saying the Michael Bay versions aren't. Anyway, this is Doctor Who. Going back to
wait. I do want to say I was right. She was the geologist. I looked it up. Okay.
Oh shit! Nice. Okay. That means back to.
We gotta keep that in. Okay. We gotta keep that's very important. Doctor Who lore.
I'll make a note for the editor. Keep this in.
Keep this in.
This is our Doctor Who portion. This is our Transformers portion of Doctor Who podcast.
But he finds that she's a young lady, and she gives him a little schmoochy on the lips, and he figures out, I think now, that she's the mistress of the King of France.
Yeah, King Louis.
Louis. Yeah, one of the Louis. There was like a lot of them.
A lot of Louis. And he figures out he works it in his clockwork brain, and his single-celled brain is like, oh shit! I just snogged Madame de Pompadour.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the Doctor, and I just snogged Madame de Pompadour.
Yeah, he's a dog. Can we just all agree that the Doctor's a bit of a dog?
He definitely got that dog in him. He got that dog.
And he's trying to get that dog in her. But that's besides the point. So as he gets back on the ship, this is where the continuity error came in for me, and like the
Oh yeah.
ridiculousness level went up a little bit. The Doctor figures out that there's a horse that just
He-
appeared on the ship.
He doesn't figure it out. It just appears in front of him.
That's what I'm saying. It's so weird,
It's
right?
a fucking horse.
Come on, it's a little silly. We could agree.
It's funny.
Silly.
It's real funny.
But so he finds this horse, and it's like a blink and you'll miss it moment. That's important. We're gonna hold on to that. All right, put that in your pocket, because that's a secret mouse tool we'll use for later.
Your
Okay.
mouse tool. Yeah.
So then he just does a bunch of different like walking, and there's some talking with him and the companions. And if I remember correctly, it's at this point they see that the ship has like weird human body parts integrated with it. So like as they're kind of looking around and trying to find out what to do next, they see these different time windows that have a bunch of different portions of Renette's life, like the moment where she meets the king. And as the Doctor and the companions are split up, we see Rose and Mickey bump into a camera that's like kind of inspecting them within the ship, that has an eye for its lens. And then
Fucking eye.
right, it's weird. And then Rose is like, "Oh, I smell barbecue," and she's looking through things with Mickey, and they find a heart wired into the ship.
A literal heart.
Yep. Also, why? I think it was Mickey says, "That's a human heart." Why do they know exactly what a human heart looks like? Are you a heart doctor? Why do you know the difference between a human heart, a horse heart, a dog heart? It's just weird to me. Okay, it's a little strange.
Mickey, Mickey, what you doing, my man? Why do you know that?
Oh yeah, but the Doctor sees that Renette's about to be like beat up by an android, and he steps through the window and defends her. Oh wait, that's right, because this is where he tells Renette that they'll listen to her, because it's kind of in their programming now, and they'll answer any questions she has. And that's when the android says that the ship was damaged by like an ion storm, right? And the reason their hair is for parts. And that's when they realize that they've been using those organs they found earlier to repair the ship. And then he kind of walks back into the ship, and he's doing that thing where he just kind of mumbles and runs around and hypothesizes and figures out that the reason why the robots are trying to open a time window to Renette specifically is because the ship is 37 years old, and they're waiting for Renette to be 37 to take her brain, because they think that'll make it compatible with the ship.
Yeah. That bit actually comes a bit further in this episode than what you're thinking chronologically. The time when he stops the clockwork from attacking Renette is when she's about to go dance with the king, and her and him have a bit of a Star Trek mind meld to try to figure out what is going on. And with this scene in particular, this scene is very important with the Doctor Who mythos, because the Doctor can see into the mind of Renette, but that also means Renette can see into the mind of the Doctor, and we get little hints of the Doctor's past as a lonely boy on some sort of planet, and we don't know the Doctor's real name, and she figures out that something is up with that. Why is he called the Doctor? Why does he hide his name? Who is Doctor? Doctor Who. Doctor Who. So that the Doctor's name and knowing who the Doctor is, what his name is a theme that is drawn out throughout the next next few series, all the way through Matt Smith. I don't think we ever really get a definitive answer. Like, we don't actually know what the Doctor's name is, or if he actually has a name. Well, but we have a conclusion to that story, but it's I'll say it's unsatisfying.
Oof.
Like,
And I will
we don't appreciate that.
I think this moment also surprises the Doctor because he's not under he's never, I think, he first of all, he says that he doesn't do this often. He doesn't make a habit of it.
Mhm.
And I don't think he's ever had anyone push into his mind before because we see this
Yeah.
almost like spark of wonder that comes over his eyes as he realizes what she's done. And it's not even like, I don't even think it's like panic or like being upset. He's literally just amazed that someone from the 17th century picked this up this quickly and then also pushed themselves into his mind. And I think this is where we start to get this theme of the Doctor has never had anyone truly understand him before. And we notice that after this scene, the Doctor really kind of attaches to Renette a little bit more.
Oh, big time. Yeah,
It's
this
a
is
lot
a
more
bit. Yeah, absolutely. This is a moment of vulnerability for the Doctor that he just wasn't prepared for, and it messes with him.
Oh yeah, because we even see him basically just ignore his companions for the rest of the other episode and their safety,
Hmm.
and attempts to be like a knight in shining armor for her. And eventually, he kind of fucks off for a bit, and they realize what's going on. And he sends Rose back to her for some reason. I don't think it's really explained. Rose just goes to show up and explain that in 5 years, she is going to be attacked because they realize it's going to be 37 is when they're going to attack her. And she says she doesn't know when. The Doctor wishes she could be here. And, you know,
Yeah,
her being the incredibly intelligent woman that she is, she explains that bad news is often not given by the person giving it. And I think that's really like, mwah, perfect. It shows that the Doctor has no accountability, and I really like that recurring theme that the Doctor refuses to be accountable for his actions.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. I like I like the bit where after the Doctor and Renette have a dance together, she just comes into the room slogged, just
oh yeah,
absolutely drunk. And while Mickey and Rose tied up, are tied up to the clockworks
yeah. He's got his
as well.
tie tied
He's got his
around
tie
his
on his
head.
head,
Got
like
some like
you're Mister,
sunglasses,
like
and
you're
I
Mister
love.
Thick, and the thickness and the thicker.
It's you! You're my favourite. You are the best. You know why? Because you're so thick. You're Mr. Thickety, thick face from Thicktown, Thickania. And so's your dad.
And the clockwork soldiers are so confused. They're like, what do we do?
What's going on? What are we
Going
doing
on?
with him?
Why is he the way he is? Also, we just got confirmed that Rose is compatible.
Yeah,
Even though she is not 37, which is
maybe.
interesting. Well, I think we got it confirmed that Rose is like in her 20s, ain't she?
Probably, yeah, I think so. No, yeah, that was a an interesting bit in there. It's like, why is Rose compatible? We don't really get an answer to that.
And you know what I think makes them compatible? I think the Doctor got it wrong. I think what makes them compatible is vast knowledge outside of the time period, right? And I think
Hmm.
they both knew about the Doctor. And I think that's what makes them compatible.
That's a good theory.
Because it's the only thing in common they have is intimate
Yeah.
knowledge about the Doctor and the universe and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, but at any rate, Rose is understandably mad because he's been gone for like 5 hours, just dancing because he completely just ignores everyone for hanging out with Renette and going to dance with her. Which is insane. He knows his allies are in danger and it's just like, pretty lady.
I'm just
Ooh.
gonna have a dance. What could go wrong?
But then
Why are
he
you guys strapped down?
Yeah, right. You guys were partying without me? That's crazy. But he puts this really cool like oil that looks like wine, and it just stops them completely, and is able to do his classic Doctor Who silliness to get everyone out of trouble just in the nick of time. Um, and then obviously Rose explains everything to Renette, but Renette, being the absolute like hellion that she is, decides to go in through through the fireplace and goes to
It wasn't the
see.
it wasn't the fireplace. It was the tapestry.
That's right, the tapestry. And she goes to see what his world is like because she's
The
only seen it
spaceship.
through memories.
Yeah.
And she sees the spaceship.
And she hears herself in the future try calling out.
Yep. And I thought that was really chilling to me because can you imagine like being some random lady and I don't even think they've invented electricity by the 17th century. Oh no, this is the
Probably
18th
not.
century. 1700s? Yeah, definitely not. And you're in a spaceship in space. That's crazy to me. That's insane. And Rose does a pretty, I would say, fantastic job calming down Renette and getting her to go back. Really out of character for Rose. I think we see a lot of maturity from her in some ways in this episode and immaturity in other ways still. I think she's
Yeah.
kind of coming to terms with that in a lot of ways. But then we get to the final scene where these like robo dudes appear at this costume ball that the king and Renette are at. And right before this, Rose lets her know to just keep talking because she can slow them down. And there's this interesting moment because I think we see the Doctor panic for the first time, really ever, at least so far in the series, like true panic, because he realizes that he can't enter the time window without being stranded there, and they don't have
That's a
way
big
to
deal.
break through it. Now, do you want to take the reins here and talk about that continuity error that I was explaining earlier that made no sense and how the writers wrote themselves out of a corner?
Why do you think there would be a horse on a spaceship? If no other better way than to crash through a fucking mirror. Holy shit, that entrance was badass. Like,
yeah.
honestly, the entrance. So the scene is Mariette, or not Mariette. I keep wanting to say Mariette. Renee is in the ballroom with the clockworks. They're about to take her head off when the Doctor, knowing he won't be able to ever get back to his time if he goes through the time window, just crashes through the mirror, the giant mirror in above the fireplace, and he stops the clockworks with the
Yeah, and
horse.
I think what's great here is if you watch Louis throughout the scene, he's baffled and pissed off. But by the end of the scene, you can see him like kind of regain the stoicism we've seen in previous scenes because we haven't seen a lot of King Louis.
Yeah.
But I think
You've
he
seen him in
understands
there,
like
yeah.
this is weird, and this is kind of out of my depth.
How'd that guy come through the mirror?
Yeah, and I love too that the Doctor basically just talks them into suicide. He's like, I'm not gonna wind you up and you can't go home, you stinky little guys. And they're like,
Well,
fucking
shit, we
right.
don't got nothing else to live for. Let's
Right?
just
They're like,
shut down.
guess I'll die. Oh my goodness. And then we kind of get the culmination of all these different pieces, which is like after everything's settled down and we see Rose terrified because she realizes she can't see the Doctor anymore. And I think they have the kind of codependency thing going on. Definitely
Yeah,
more
kinda.
Rose than the Doctor.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
the Doctor gets really upset when Rose is in trouble, but also just kind of forgets she exists a lot.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, he's a nine mortal. What can you do?
Right? So he kind of walks out towards the balcony with her in her private quarters
They talk about
and
the stars.
talk about the stars, and she talks about all these different things and calls him an angel, and yada yada. It's very romantic, very sweet. And then she says that she had something brought back, and it's the fireplace from her old room. And the doctor, being the quick-witted, absolute god he is, realizes, holy shit, you just saved my biscuit. Because it got removed from the circuit by being physically moved, he can just turn it back on and leave. So he turns it back on, and we see the regret wash over his face of coming back without taking the slow way round, as Renette puts it. And he asks her to pack a bag, and then we can see a star, whichever one she wants. Just give him 2 minutes. And she doesn't. And I think another continuity error here that really messed with me was in like the 5 more minutes of dialogue that we get with the main cast, with them being upset because obviously he's been gone for 5.5 hours. And he says, always wait 5.5 hours. Absolutely legendary line. Suddenly it's been like 10 years and she's 42 and she's dead.
Rip.
Right? Yeah, I don't understand how that works. It's been like 10 minutes, dude. And we've moved 10 years. Like, it's just a little strange. But the writing recovers because they roll with the punches. And he sees King Louis, who is distraught. And he says that he has just missed her. And that she's on her way back out of Paris for the last time. And he hands her a letter.
Paris. Yeah.
Or to Paris, pardon me. And he hands her a letter. And it's Renette.
It's her final words.
Yep. And he doesn't read it there. I'm pretty sure he reads it in the spaceship, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he was in the TARDIS.
And I think I understand a bit more how the TARDIS works, because she explains that, you know, she always waited for him, but she couldn't go to him. And she loved him. And this beautiful, beautiful different stuff. It's very like flowery wording, and it's gorgeous. It's really good. I'm not going to ruin that for anybody who hasn't seen it potentially, or if you want to rewatch it. And
yeah,
it kind of cut me up a little bit inside.
Oh, definitely.
But I think the TARDIS works weird, because it feels like the way it works is if the Doctor knows that he didn't go back, he can't go back. Because I know he said that he can't like go back before where he was because it'll cause like a paradox or something, and that's just not how TARDISes work, and yada yada. But I think if he didn't read that, he probably could have went back and seen her in the TARDIS. Because he would have been aware.
I mean, yes and no. So the laws of time and space are always in flux in the show with the writing. Like sometimes you can go back to certain points, sometimes you can't. But the basic one of the basic consistent laws in the show is that you can't go back to certain points in time because they are fixed concrete points in history that have to happen, that have to be consistent. Like say you could not go back to the moment where Hitler dies because Hitler has to die. If he did not die, it would create a paradox and it would throw time all out of whack. But so yeah, also with time and space, if you know something is going to happen, you can't go back and rewrite it. You can't go back and prevent it. And you'll see that in the future.
Gotcha. So I kind of hit it a little bit. I understood a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Okay. It sucks because
it was the first person to ever understand him too, is the part that sucks the worst.
Yeah,
like truly get into his head, literally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, literally. Yeah, it sucks because I was before watching the episode or before finishing the episode, I was like, why couldn't you just go back in the time? Oh yeah, that's right, because fixed points in time, all yada yada. Yeah. So yeah, it sucks. dealing with history.
Gotta say, writing, if we ignore the continuity errors, 10 out of 10. Pacing, 10 out of 10. Fantastic episode. With continuity errors, 9 out of 10. I really like this episode.
Man just can't deal with the horse on the ship.
Bro, it just made no sense. It made no goddamn sense.
Wait till you see the dinosaurs.
I have to look at my notes. It goes, where the fuck did this horse come from? You're telling me this horse was for some reason inside? That's literally the sentence I have, because all of the details are inside.
Wait till you see the dinosaurs, man. Wait till you see the dinosaurs.
I'm just saying, you explained to me a reason why a horse would be inside of a bedroom or a dancing hall, and you know what? I'll give you it. But until that point, silly. 9 out of 10.
It's where that horse come from. We don't know. It's not explained.
We don't know and we don't ask.
We don't ask these kind of questions, man. We don't know. But yeah, it was definitely a fun episode. Definitely very, very fast paced, and I like that because it did not feel like it was 35 minutes, give or take. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
46 minutes. Sorry. Yeah, it didn't feel like it was 46 minutes.
Oh, dude, that was probably I thought the last episode had me locked in.
Mm-hmm.
This one had me locked in. I was like, damn, this is good. Where'd that horse come from? But the rest of this is really good. No, but enough horse talk. I'm not a horse boy. I gotta say, who was this written by? You said it was Steven something?
Stephen Moffat wrote this.
Yeah, I'm excited for the 11th Doctor. I know we're a really long way away from that, but I'm excited if every episode is written this well by him. Honestly.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a lot of people don't like Matt Smith and his run just because he's very childish, but I really enjoy him, and even though some of the episodes are hit and miss, it's a fun time. It's definitely a fun time.
Well, I would argue, how are you going to compete with David Tennant?
That is true. How do you compete with the best?
Right?
They literally had to go back to him with they literally had to go back to him with the 60th anniversary episodes. Seriously.
I saw that on TikTok and I was like, oh my goodness, yes, I've just started watching this. Oh, this is so cool.
But yeah, definitely a fun episode. If you guys have not checked it out, check it out. So yeah, any final thoughts before we end?
Cyber Bros, they look cool as fuck.
Dude.
Although I will say I've got some like fascism vibes from the imagery that I'm not sure if I fuck with, but I'm interested because Doctor Who has had so many different nuanced takes on different like issues so far, that I'm very interested to see how they handle it. I really am.
Oh yeah, next episode is bringing back a classic Doctor Who villain, and I am very much looking forward to it. All right, that being said, this is going to be it for us. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you all for checking out the episode. If you guys are watching on YouTube, we're on Spotify. If you guys are listening on Spotify, we're on YouTube as well. Give us a rating and let us know what you guys thought. Hopefully we will see you guys next time. So that being said, Daz, my man, thanks for coming on. It's been a blast.
Of course, it always is. I'm always stoked to be here. And I'm excited because I'm slowly powering up as a Whovian. I think we're approaching my Kaioken arc, so to speak, because R.I.P. Mr. Dragon Ball, John Dragon Ball. And one day I'll get to Super Saiyan 3, but that's neither here nor there. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you all have a good evening, or morning, or lunch, or whatever time of day it is for you.
Whatever time you guys are listening or watching this. Yes. Thank you all. We will see you, Whovians, in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.